Hello, my name is Britta Crawford. I work for the RCVS in the Education Department. Today I'm going to take you through the VetGDP ePortfolio from the graduate's point of view. The first thing you'll need to do is to log in. The login button is on the RCVS home screen in the top right hand corner. You will use the same username as you do for your My account and the same password. So here, let's log in. The first screen welcomes you, and then you click Get Started. You will choose your practice from the drop-down list, continue, and also choose your advisor. If you don't have a practice or an advisor to choose, this means that they haven't set up their relationships in their My account or signed their declaration, so you'll need to ask them to do so. You will then fill in your VetGDP questionnaire. The next thing you need to do is to build your ePortfolio. We suggest that you talk through each EPA with your VetGDP advisor before you begin. But they are all set out for you here within the system. So this is EPA 1, gather a history, perform an examination and create a prioritised differential diagnosis list. So I know that I'll be doing that, so I'll add this to my portfolio. There is 15 more, which you can flick through and add which ones you feel are appropriate. I feel that those are enough. So we'll click. You do need to click through each of the EPAs and read all of them right to the end before you can finish your selection. You can then review your EPAs with this button at the bottom. And this will give you a list of all the EPAs that you've chosen. If you feel that the EPAs that are available on the system don't cover your entire job role, then you can create your own EPAs. It is worth noting, though, that the EPAs have been created at a deliberately high level to be able to adapt to as many jobs as possible. To be honest, if you're in kind of standard veterinary practice, it's likely that all these EPAs will cover you. It's only if you have kind of like a niche thing that you might need to add something. So if you do, you click on the Create an EPA button, you give it a title, a description, the success criteria, if you know what they will be, and then you submit them. And then you submit your whole selection. This will then flag up on your advisor's portfolio and they will approve your EPAs. Once they have done so, then you'll be able to start logging your activities and your reflections. The home button takes you to your recent activities. So any activities that you've logged in your ePortfolio will show up here. If you click on the VetGDP ePortfolio button, it will show you your list of EPAs. To record an activity, you can either press the gold Record an Activity button in the bottom right-hand corner, having already selected your EPA, or click on the Record button in the top bar. You can then choose your EPA. So I will choose Gather a History. Name of activity, let's call it Vaccination of a Cat. Date completed, you can pick the date that you've done it in the past or just click on today's date. Activity description, vaccinating a cat, taking a history, doing an exam, talking to client. Was this activity observed by your VetGDP advisor? Yes, it was. Did you receive guidance or support for this activity? Let's say yes, it was. Next. This screen then takes you through various different success criteria so that we can look back and see the breadth and depth of activities that you've done. So we'll leave that as not applicable, low routine. We said it was a cat. Let's say a moderate degree of client cooperation and a moderate degree of animal participation, and save. You can now either add a reflection straight away, or you can click on the, you can save it and then go back later and click on the reflect button and add one in later. There are two ways of adding a reflection. You can either press the guided button where it asks you questions to help your reflection, or you can press the free button and you can just reflect freely. So we'll do the guided one today. Which areas did you find challenging? Let's say the client, oh, can't spell, the client could not remember all of the history and the animal was scared. Which areas did you complete well? You can say, I was pleased with the history I took and got all the relevant information in spite of a difficult client. I can't spell, there we go. Which areas need further development and goals identified? I will talk further with my advisor about goals on this issue. Any additional comments? Add additional comments. And you save your reflection. And it gives you a chance to review. There's also an attachments section, so you can upload any notes, upload documents. If you've made handwritten notes, you can take a photograph of those and upload them. You can record into it so that it records your speech, or perhaps you can record the discussion that you had afterwards with your advisor, and you can also add that. I'm taking you back to the home screen. Then you can see that there is your recent activities. And if you click on this, it shows you the information that's in there. At least once a month, you and your VetGDP advisor should do a progress review. And to add one of these, you press this button here, View Add Progress Reviews. So you're doing this on EPA 1, and you would do a progress review for each of the EPAs. Add progress review. So hopefully you will have had a conversation with your advisor before you fill in this review. So in these boxes, you can fill in the information that the advisor has told you, the goals that you have decided between yourselves, any reflections that you have over the month's work, and a summary of that general discussion. You may ask, how many activities should I include in my e-portfolio? I think it would be a good habit to get in to do at least one a day, because the more activities that you have in your e-portfolio, the more you have to discuss with your advisor and the more learning opportunities there are. How to view and add progress reviews. So you want to log in as you usually would do and click on your VetGDP e-portfolio, which brings you to this page. You will do your monthly review per EPA. And ideally, you will have had your monthly review discussion with your VetGDP advisor before you do this, but you could also sit down and do it together at the same time. I'm calling it a monthly review, but actually when you first start your job, these reviews, you might have one a week for the first couple of months or one every 2 weeks. And then these will peter out as you become more confident and capable. So to create a new one, I'm going to do it for EPA 1. So I've clicked on EPA 1. And then click on View and Add Progress Reviews. And then to add a new progress review, you would click on this button here, but I am going to click on this one, which I did earlier, so I can show you what I have filled in. So, date of review, which I've put in as today's date, but you can put in as a date in the past if that's more helpful to you. You would then add in a summary of your discussion with your VetGDP advisor. So the two of you would have been together and looked back on the activities that you've done for this EPA since your last review. So what I have added in here is discuss the activities logged since the last review and a few others, which my advisor felt that I should also have included in my portfolio. I've performed lots of vaccinations, which involve taking a history for each animal, performing an examination of each animal, and talking to the owners. Vaccinations have been mainly on dogs, but also cats. I have dealt with some cases on my own where a colleague has advised the likely issue with the animal. So then I reflect on what I've done in those activities. So the vaccinations have been a great way of getting used to taking a history. So I'm much better at that. I'm better at the animal handling, and ask for veterinary nurses to help me, and they've helped me become more confident do that. More comfortable talking to clients because I've done that a bit more. And I've not yet created a prioritised differential diagnosis list on my own, but have talked through several with colleagues. So your advisor will have put down goals and an action plan with you. So this is what you would add into this section. So I've just probably put see a wider variety of animals, see a wider variety of situations, and start to move beyond vaccinations. The next page, you should also have discussed with your VetGDP advisor before you set your own levels. So this is a sliding scale. You click onto the button and you can slide it up and down. And it's starting on the left at day 1 competent level as you've left university, and it's moving towards becoming an independent, competent, confident practitioner. So as this review has happened very early on in your working career, in the first couple of weeks or the couple of months, you would still be very much on the left-hand side. So you haven't seen many different clinical presentations as they've had you doing vaccinations for the last couple of weeks. So this would be down here. You've only really seen dogs and cats and really pretty much just dogs. So that's also towards the left-hand side. Again, still doing vaccinations. So the case complexity is still this side. Client cooperation, well, you might have had one tricky person that you've managed to talk around and persuade that, you know, they needed this or the other and help them in that way. So perhaps that's a little bit higher up. And you've had some really tricky cats that have been an absolute pain, but now you're really competent at dealing with them. So this has moved further up the line. Your advisor can log into your account and see your monthly reviews, and they have this option here, this button, to add their own comments. These will be broad comments, and they might comment on any of the boxes, any of the goals or the reflections or anything they feel you might have missed from the discussion that you had.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenny Soresgaard-Terp and I'm the lead for postgraduate education at the RCVS. So I'm going to show you how the VetGDP portfolio works from the VetGDP advisor's perspective. So you log in at the same website where you log in for one CPD. You use your My Account username and password. And then you'll get an option. You can either go to the one CPD or VetGDP. So we'll choose VetGDP. And all of our graduates have already completed the declarations and they've chosen us as the VetGDP advisor. So you can see that these are my graduates. And I can then click on them to review what activities and progress they've made. I will start with this one. And this is a new one. So this graduate have just started the VetGDP and chosen their EPAs. Hopefully that will have been something that the advisor and graduate will have done together. So now the VetGDP advisor can just approve the EPA selection. So you'll see all the selected EPAs here. And then you can either approve the entire selection or you can request changes. If you want to request changes, you press the red button and then you can just add some comments that will just be sent to the graduate again, and then they can amend their EPA selection. But hopefully in most cases you can just approve the entire EPA selection and the graduate will then be able to start recording their progress. Okay, so I'll go back to the home page and just choose one of my other graduates so you can see what activities and progress they've made. And you'll see here on the left-hand side is all the EPA that's part of their portfolio. And you'll see a description of the EPAs here. At the bottom of the page, you can see if they recorded any activities, reflection, or progress review against the EPA. So for this one, they haven't yet recorded any activities, so there's no blue buttons at the bottom. So if you click through, you can just see that. So if we go to EPA 1, you can either view activities, view reflection, or view progress review. So if you click view activities, there'll be a list of any activities that they've recorded. So here I can see the basic details of the activity, if there are any attachment, and I can also view the reflections. Yeah. And if I want to, I can add a comment or edit a comment here, and that will then be part of the graduate's portfolio. And I can go back. And if you go to reflection, you'll see the same screen that you saw with activities, but it will take you straight to just the reflection section there. And then you'll also see view progress review. So if you click on that one, you'll have a list of all the progress reviews that you've done against that EPA. So you just click on that one and you'll see first a summary page. There's different ways to do the progress review. You might want to do them together with your graduate and just fill in all the information together. Or the graduate might prepare some of the reflections and summary, and then you can then review it. But the graduates will do most of the recording. You'll see here they filled in the progress review. You can add a comment if you want. And then you'll see on the next page are all the sliding scales that you should try to do together so that you can have a discussion of where the graduates are at for this EPA. The VetGDP advisor can't amend the sliding scales in their portfolio, so it's only the graduates who can do that. So if we go back, here you can use, there's quite a lot of text, and I know that it can feel like this is going to take up quite a lot of work, but we will be introducing an app version of the portfolio later this year that you will then be able to use the audio recording button. But it's worth remembering that as most laptops and mobile devices, you can also use speech recognition software. So if I do that as part on my laptop, I'll just delete my comment, and then here are my comments, and insert that. So it just magically transforms that into text, which makes it very easy to just record all your conversations or reflections. And then you can just save it. So that's basically how the VetGDP advisor portfolio works. It's very straightforward. It just gives you access to everything that the graduate records. But remember that you can use the contact us button, and just if there's anything that you feel you need more guidance, it's not working properly, just say, I have a suggestion, and send us your comments. We really appreciate all the feedback that we can get and any suggestions for further improvements. So thank you so much.